In a high school teacher's lounge assembly, the principal attempts to quiet the audience for an important announcement. Mr. Pincus's haunted classroom and the successful book drive for the women's prison are highlighted. The speaker introduces Elizabeth Halsey, acknowledging her brief yet impactful presence at jams. Elizabeth is called on stage, thanked, and given a farewell gift of almost $40. Returning home, Elizabeth faces an unexpected visit from her fiancé, Mark's mother. Financial concerns arise as Elizabeth spends $16,000 of Mark's money without letting him know, leading to a breakup and an attempt by Elizabeth to salvage the relationship through a fake pregnancy claim. The relationship ultimately ends with Elizabeth questioning if it was always about money. Following the breakup, Elizabeth ends up in her same old boring teacher's job at jams and meets her new across-the-hall classroom neighbor, Amy Squirrel. Amy seems enthusiastic about their proximity, referencing Elizabeth's getting dumped. Miss Squirrel expresses the notion that teachers should receive apples, but she acknowledges that students teach her as much as she teaches them. She reflects on the initial reasons for entering teaching and mentions the desire for a partner to take care of her. Later, Liz sits alone in a classroom pondering over the notion of getting her knockers enlarged. During a conversation with another teacher who treats her for lunch, Miss Lynn, Elizabeth discusses her summer spent near where the Bulls practice and her unsuccessful attempt to find a suitable partner. Lynn tries to console her, mentioning that she's already pretty, but Liz expresses the difficulty of competing against these Barbie doll types and wanting to get a new pair of woozas, which will help to find a man who can take care of her. Later, Miss Squirrel begins her social studies class, welcoming students to Air 7th grade social studies, promising an engaging and unpredictable ride for her students. In the midst of a school environment, a blonde student excitedly shares news about a photographer who made her feel comfortable during a photo shoot. Sasha Abernathy, another student, introduces herself and offers cookies on behalf of her mother to Elizabeth, who looks cranky as if she had a wild night last night. Liz proposes watching the movie Stand and Deliver on the first day, but a student shows disapproval. The blonde student expresses enthusiasm. Later, Russell Geddes, the gym teacher, approaches Liz in the cafeteria, referencing her recent engagement, and feels sorry. Liz tells him not to as she dumped him as she walked on him about being inappropriate with their dog and making a mess with peanut butter everywhere. Hilarious. Anywho. Russell suggests grabbing a bite together, but the Liz declines, expressing that he is just a gym teacher. In the initial scene, Elizabeth confronts Amy, expressing concern about a potential problem between them. Amy reassures her and expresses a desire for a more friendly relationship, while Liz just wants her off her back. Later in the hallway, Elizabeth encounters Scott Delacourt, the new substitute teacher. Elizabeth helps Scott Delacourt find his way to room 107. They engage in a brief conversation where Scott reveals he is not married and recently got out of a relationship. They discuss his family's involvement in the watch business. Quickly, Liz, realizing that this is the man she wants. His family owns a watch company, and then she sees his ex-girlfriend's picture and realizes that she needs both of those. The narrative then shifts to a cosmetic surgery consultation with Dr. Vogel. Elizabeth expresses interest in purchasing fake cojones, but Dr. Vogel reveals the cost of her desired surgery. Elizabeth, shocked at the price, hesitates. The scene then shifts where Elizabeth, facing financial difficulties in paying for cosmetic surgery, and tries to secure $10,000 from her ex-fiancé, who dismisses her request. Frustrated, she's rooming with a Craigslist acquaintance and seeks financial help from friends, but to no avail. Her roommate Kirk walks in. Elizabeth asks him for $10,000 and discusses her financial struggles, and he suggests getting wasted and then walks out. Later, a student approaches Elizabeth, promoting a car wash fundraiser for a Springfield trip, and is shocked to find out that they made $6,000 last year. Meanwhile, her colleague, Amy Squirrel, is also scoping for Scott's attention, and does a pretty good job at that. Compounding her challenges, Scott develops romantic feelings for Amy Squirrel, relegating Elizabeth to a mere friendship. In a bid to gather funds for the surgery, she engages in a 7th through grade class car wash and resorts to manipulating parents by coaxing money from them under the guise of providing extra care for their children in class. Despite her efforts, She finds little success in raising the necessary funds. Amy initiates a campaign to tarnish Elizabeth's image in front of Delacourt by revealing her planned fake knockers surgery. When Scott Delacourt confesses his feelings for Amy, Elizabeth counters by asserting that Amy is merely exploiting him for his wealth. Despite her unscrupulous nature, Elizabeth adopts a facade of kindness and warmth, actively participating in all school activities involving Scott Delacourt, portraying a stark contrast between her outward appearance and inner character. Discovering a bonus incentive for the teacher. With the highest state scores, Liz undergoes a transformation in her teaching approach. Transitioning from a teacher who primarily relies on movies, she becomes dedicated to rigorous exam preparation for her students. Despite her earnest efforts, the students struggle and perform poorly on the quizzes she administers. Concurrently, she forges a friendship with Geddes, the gym teacher, as Amy Squirrel and Scott Delacourt embark on a romantic relationship. Amy discovers Elizabeth smoking marijuana in the parking lot, yet lacking concrete evidence. Principal Snubbs opts not to intervene. The principal also cautions Amy to maintain emotional composure regarding Elizabeth, referencing a past incident in 2008, where Amy seemingly struggled to keep her emotions in check. This implies that Amy had experienced a mental health challenge during that period. Liz devises a plan to pilfer the upcoming state exam her students were scheduled to take. Posing as a journalist interested in investigating the exam's alleged racial bias, she attempts to persuade the official in charge to provide her with the test. When faced with protocol constraints, she resorts to seducing and drugging him in his office, seizing the opportunity to steal the exam discreetly. As an added precaution, she takes compromising nude photos of him as insurance in case of potential repercussions. A month later, Elizabeth successfully secures the bonus for the highest state scores, enabling her to finance her breast enlargement procedure. When she hears about a field trip her class is having and Scott Delacourt and Amy Squirrel, Will's chaperone, Elizabeth puts on a pair of white latex gloves and rubs a poison ivy leaf on an apple and leaves it on Amy Squirrel's desk for her to eat, causing her to not be able to go on the field trip and Liz replacing her. In the field trip, she flirts with Scott Delacourt and they get frisky with their clothes on. I mean, what's wrong with this guy? Anyway, Amy finds out through Liz leaving a revealing voice message on her cell phone. Upon hearing the revealing voicemail, Amy Squirrel orchestrates a plan. She swaps her classroom desk with Liz Halsey's, hoping someone will unlock Elizabeth's desk, providing her access to potential evidence of an unfair bonus win. Successfully gaining entry, Squirrel discovers a clue pointing to the individual overseeing the exams. Subsequently, Amy approaches this person, who discloses that Elizabeth, disguised as a reporter, had sought to obtain the exam before its scheduled administration. Squirrel brings her findings to the school principal, leading to a scheduled meeting involving Halsey, the principal, and the superintendent. However, Elizabeth manages to evade consequences through a scheme involving blackmail. Armed with compromising photos of the individual overseeing the tests, taken during her covert actions, she coerces her way out of the situation. In a strategic move, Elizabeth shifts the focus to alleged drug activities within the school, diverting attention from her misdeeds. Unbeknownst to her, Amy's earlier desk switch places Elizabeth's drugs in Amy's classroom. As the police conduct a search of the school premises, drugs are discovered in Liz Halsey's desk, now situated in Amy's classroom. Consequently, Amy becomes wrongly implicated as the teacher involved in drug-related activities. With Squirrel no longer in the picture, Scott Delacourt attempts to kindle a romance with Elizabeth. However, she declines his advances, recognizing that her connection with Geddes is more genuine and grounded, highlighting her own previous superficiality. The subsequent school year unfolds, revealing that Elizabeth Halsey decided against getting breast enlargement surgery, embracing her self-image and acknowledging her contentment with her appearance. Additionally, instead of returning to her English classroom, Halsey transitions into the role of the school's new guidance counselor. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.